Hi, this is Dan Meth, the director of the Meth Minute. Yeah, well, it's true. I've said in the beginning of the cartoons that I wrote this one in 8th grade, and that's totally true. I did a comic book. You know, the Space Cowboy was not meant to be funny originally. I meant it as very serious, epic, gritty, graphic novel. Looking back on it, it's actually much funnier because it wasn't meant to be funny. Ben Mara, my friend, illustrator, he did the voice. To get him in the role, I gave him the comic book and I said, you know, read this. He came into the studio and I just interviewed him as Space Cowboy. My brother there doing the voice of Exala, a voice he's been doing since we were kids. Okay, so that mushroom cloud you may recognize from every other Space Cowboy cartoon. It's sort of a running gag how I show that over and over again. Daisy Edwards, who this was the first cartoon she was helping me on, did all the backgrounds and they're amazing. Even though this is the first cartoon, this is the very climactic end of my comic book where he finally, as you see, throws Exala out the window. There's the gesture. That is straight from the real Ben Mara, who I guess he used to do that, but now we all do that.
I did that. But, you know, that's just like what I do, and that's just like another day in the life of the Space Cowboy.
Here we have the sequel to the first cartoon, Space Cowboy on the Moon. When I was a kid and I made the comic book, I think the one movie that was really on my mind was Total Recall, which I'd just seen, and I don't know where the cowboy part, I guess I was into cowboys, but yeah, like, I was very into sci-fi and stuff.
And lived with her in her apartment, and it was rent-free.
Yeah, there's a flashback to the 60s when he was a kid, which kind of helps you figure out how old Space Cowboy is, because the timeline is very hard to figure out, and these cartoons do follow his life, but they're kind of all out of order. I had a guy named Mike Zimmer superimpose the real NASA footage. You know, if I could get a real accurate detail in there, it's great. A evolutionized horse, later to have his own show. I just love the way that Ben retold the story that I wrote, and it's really emotional. Bam, little flashback there. Now this is true. The whole thing about his girlfriend dying, and then as he's avenging her, he meets this other girl, and he kind of never mentions the first one again.
Push-ups are cool.
Push-ups. Yep.
You know, that's just the way it is for the Space Cowboy, you know.
And gesture.
Chicks everywhere.
Space Cowboy on Earth. This is definitely stands apart from the others. I don't know if a good way or a bad way, but it happened. Basically, I was kind of running out of time with the Meth Minute, and figured filming something would be a lot easier than animating another one. And I guess it was. It was also fun to do, and you know, it's sort of the only live-action Meth Minute. So we find out 1991 Earth was destroyed. Bet you didn't know that. And this whole thing, straight from the comic book, even the picture, I had intern Avi Tuckman redesign, basically redraw the way I had drawn it. Now, the cool thing about it is we got the real guy who had been doing the voice, my friend Ben, to be Space Cowboy, and basically I tried to get anybody else to play the survivor, but of course it ended up being me. So now you can see there that I have some crap on my face that I put there to make myself look like a mutant.
How you doing?
This whole film here was filmed at no joke, an abandoned mental asylum or a children's hospital or something abandoned and creepy, and there was bars on the windows, everything was overgrown. It was the only place we knew that looked post-apocalyptic, and it did, I think. all this dialogue here, exactly from the comic book, written when I was 13. And it's weird. I mean, and we recorded this, we filmed this out there, and really the voices did not come out very well on these the microphones. So we went into the studio and just overdubbed every line, and it sort of gives it this weird foreign horror movie from the 70s kind of feel.
Fantastic.
Sort of like an Italian horror film or a karate movie or something. And it's weird. Yeah. A lot of people were kind of freaked out by this one.
Got it?
Got it. Thanks.
This whole thing about the car, straight from the comic book.
Oh, okay.
He just happened to have a car that he'd never used.
It's really good to meet you.
Oh yeah, it was good to meet you too.
I don't see many people.
You'll notice my arm grows back.
You know, maybe
in
somebody
about a
will, you know, come give you some company or something.
That would be good. You don't have to go right now.
No, I gotta go.
Of course, it was just
You sure you gotta go right
Ben's
now?
mom's car.
Yeah.
So easy pass.
Okay.
It's nice.
Now what you want to do is you're gonna want to drive south. I think
You're gonna hear a song coming up,
Okay.
which is, if you're a Meth Minute fan, you'll recognize from the Palms episode. But basically, that was, it's written by a coworker, Lindsay Chen, who,
I'll be back sometime.
well, the song is
Okay.
completely, has nothing to do with this episode, except it's about the city of angels, which is the phrase in the comic book that the survivor refers to Los Angeles as. So I thought, wow, isn't that funny that there was a song City of Angels and you're talking about City of Angels, so I have to put it in there. And actually a lot of the lyrics in the first verse really just apply to this scene. And I added a kind of old film effect, and it sort of somehow makes the blurriness of it all look intentional. So that's it. Gesture, Space Cowboy. It's over. Hopefully there'll be more Space Cowboys. And that's that.
These are issues that make you uncomfortable, don't they? We are pro-aggression.
I'm gonna stick with poetry. Poetry about the moon. I got it.
Haven't you heard? Disco is king now.